where I'm going. Good morning from a beautiful sunny Peak District. I parked up at Hope. I'm making my way up, kind of following the course of the old Roman road. I will be passing Hope Cross. It's going to be a gorgeous day. The weather's already beautiful. It was only 4 degrees first thing this morning, but I suspect it's going to warm up quite nicely. I'd kind of forgotten how long it's been since I came this way, and when I started coming along here this morning I'd misremembered it slightly, and then I got thinking about how long it has been since I came along here. And I reckon it's been a few years, you know. So the last few times that I've gone up Win Hill from Hope, I've gone up a more direct route, a steeper route that takes you pretty much directly to, well, not quite directly, but very close to Win Hill Pike. Whereas this cuts across and misses out Win Hill Pike. You know, you can get to Win Hill Pike this way, but you would have to backtrack. So yeah, I think it's been quite a few years since I came up this way. Look at this ancient track, this ancient holloway. Absolutely beautiful. I'm so excited for today's walk. Today's walk is going to take me, hopefully, take me to a couple of spots which I've not been to before. And one of those two spots I've been interested in visiting for a very, very, very long time. I'll tell you more about that a little bit later when we can see it a little bit more clearly. I'm actually wearing my sun hoodie today. Now, although the weather this weekend is forecast to be sunny and warm and gorgeous, it's not going to last. I think Monday it's going to get a lot colder, and yeah, potentially some sub-zero temperatures next week. Right now we're looking towards Jaggers Clough, which goes up to Edale Moor. Now, I've done Jaggers Clough a few times. It's a really enjoyable walk, and the last time I did that was a few years back, so I really need to do that again. I really need to go back up Jaggers Clough because I loved it. Best on a sunny day like today, and best avoided when there's been a lot of rain, because it's pretty much impossible to scramble up the top because the water literally comes gushing down. But something I wanted to point out is that there. I might have to enlarge this on the screen for you so you can see it better, but the very, very first time I came up here, which was years ago, and I don't remember exactly when, I saw that and I was intrigued. It's like, what is that? Because from here, it could be anything. It could be a Neolithic or Bronze Age site. It could be the impact crater of a meteorite or something like that, or it could be a quarry, but it is a quarry. and I think it's referred to as Jaggers Clough Quarry. So I've been intrigued by that ever since I first came up here, and a few months ago when I came up here to do the ruins on Win Hill video, I'll put the date of when that was on the screen. I think it would have been November, December when I did that. Can't remember exactly. I saw that again and it prompted me to do some research, and I put some research into it and decided, okay, I definitely need to go visit that spot. And then I found another spot not far away from that, which is also of interest. And I thought, okay, I'll include both of those in the same walk. But as I say, that was back in November and December, and I just put off doing it because the weather was so bad, and it was winter, and there wasn't really enough daylight. And when you can get to that quarry, probably the easiest way to get to that quarry is to go from Edale. That would be quicker possibly than going this way, but I wanted to take this route to get to it, because I wanted to have these views of it as I approached. So I decided to save this walk until there was more daylight, so I could take my time, and also for better weather as well, because I am running out of places to go to in the Peak District, and I really don't want to waste a walk like this where I'm going to new places. I don't want to waste that on a day where the weather's rubbish. So that's where we're headed today. We're going to follow the Roman road up to where it meets up with Hope Cross, go a little bit beyond there, and then we'll take the path leading down to Jaggers Clough. I think most people who come this way tend to take the path that goes off diagonally up and then joins the upper path from Win Hill Pike that goes all the way along to Hope Cross. Most people seem to take the diagonal path that does that, and I'm not sure why. Because I think you do actually get better views from the Roman road, from the lower road, because of this slope here. It kind of ruins the views a little bit, I think. Whereas from here, you've got a much better view into the valley. But anyway, I've not seen anyone along this stretch of Roman road. I can hear people up on the upper path, but I've not seen anyone walking along the Roman road. Of course, in just a few minutes' time, the Roman road and that other path are going to converge at Hope Cross. We're starting to get a little bit closer, and therefore a little bit clearer views of the quarry. That's where I'm going. Every time I come up to Hope Cross from Hope, it takes way longer than I expect. And the simple reason for that is because I take so many photos and videos. I've never seen it so clear as this. All the times I've come this way, The light today is just amazing, and it's really bringing out those details. I've turned off the old Roman road and I'm now taking the path towards the bottom of Jaggers Clough. I'm actually making pretty good progress compared to how long it normally takes me to walk to Hope Cross. As I say, I always take so many photos and video clips, and I have done that today, but not quite to the same extent, so it's taken me less time than it normally does. But I will stop for a break, probably when I get to the bottom of Jaggers Clough. I may even walk up Jaggers Clough a little bit, because I'm actually doing really well for time. And I really want to take my time on this walk today and really enjoy the weather and enjoy these locations. This is a good view with the quarry framed by the branches of that cool looking tree. As I get closer to the quarry, it looks less and less like a Neolithic or Bronze Age site, less like a meteor impact site, and more like what it is, an old quarry. But that's not taking anything away from it. It still looks like a fascinating place to go and explore. This old quarry is just one of several in this area. If you've been up Kinderscout or Edale Moor via Crookstone, you will have seen the other old quarries which are over there, which are possibly more interesting than this one. Who knows? I haven't been to this one yet. I mean, this one looks better from a distance than those ones do. But lots of people take the route up that goes around those quarries, and quite a few people wild camp in those quarries and explore those quarries. They are quite small, and I've done that a few times, but as I say, I've never been up to this one, although I've seen it many times. I've been up and down this track a few times, but I've only ever gone that way or come down from that way, Jaggers Clough. I've never actually followed the track along, and I believe it goes all along the side of Kinderscout until you get to Edale, but I've never actually walked that track. So I'm assuming that somewhere along that track there's going to be a path or a side path that takes me up to the quarry. If not, from here I can see a few possibilities. I mean, there is, just to the side of the quarry, there is clearly the remains of a track, but you can't see where exactly that goes. If there is a lot of water running, you do have the option to walk along and cross over up there. But today, not that much water. So here we have it, the bottom of Jaggers Clough. I've just seen a couple of trail runners go up there. The quarry I'm aiming for is just up there. I could just go off piste and climb up the hill, it's not too steep. But as I mentioned, I've never been up this track. So I'm thinking I will follow that track just up a little bit and then see if it's any easier to get to the quarry because it is going up, so it might be easier to go up the track and then try to get to the quarry, and if not, it's not far to retrace my steps. But before I do that, because I have plenty of time, I mean it's 10:30, so I still have loads of time. I'm going to have a stop for a rest, and I'm going to find a spot just along, not far from here, just slightly along Jaggers Clough. This spot will do perfectly for a 5-10 minute break spot. You certainly get good views coming up here. Well, I've never been along this path before. I knew it was here, but I never saw any reason to come this way. You know, what's the point of taking a path along the lower slopes of Kinder Scout when you could just go up Kinder Scout? But the views are pretty impressive. But then again, the views from the top of Kinder Scout are even better. But yeah, I just wanted to come up and have a look. There's the quarry over there. The views from here are pretty impressive. Never seen Jaggers Clough from this perspective before. So here we are, climbing up to Jaggers Clough Quarry, as it's known on the maps. My first time to come here. I'll tell you a bit about it in a few minutes. It's a lot windier up here and therefore not quite so warm. It's a lot smaller when you get up to it than it looks from a distance. Well, you can clearly see that something's here, I'm not sure what. It looks like someone's been breaking rocks here. It does look like there's more up there, another seam of exposed rock up there. Not sure if that indicates that there's a hole beneath us. interesting. It's fascinating that you can still see all the tool marks and the work marks on the rocks. I don't know enough to know the significance of them, but it's fascinating to see them there. I'm going to scramble up a little bit to the upper bit now. Tell you what, the views from here are pretty impressive. Unbelievable. I'll point one thing out. No wild camper would go camping with a gas stove as big as that. Hill in the distance, Win Hill Pike. That wind is certainly picking up here. And it's making it feel a lot colder. Here you can really see the spoil heaps. And this is interesting. There's plenty of rubble from the quarrying down there. Look. I wonder if that would have been simply from the quarry. Material from the quarry, or whether that marks building ruins. I don't know. If it was originally the ruins of a building, there's nothing that resembles anything from a building right now. It's just a scattering of rocks. I've only just noticed, but there are like letters carved in. It looks like an H. Here again. And then I noticed it over here as well. Oh, here we go. Look at this. That looks like an M. So I have little doubt that whoever carved this was the same person who carved this and did all this. This quarry is on the oldest maps. Not that the oldest maps go back that far. And interestingly, on the oldest map, this quarry is simply labelled Old Quarry, implying that it was not in use at that time. And the size of the quarry on that map, the detail of the quarry size, was smaller than it is on later maps. So when the quarry appeared on later maps, it was bigger, and crucially, it no longer said Old Quarry, it simply said Quarry. So the theory is that this quarry dates back who knows how far, and then was abandoned, and then sometime in the 19th century this quarry came back into use and was expanded. We know next to nothing besides that. It is theorized though that when the quarry was reopened, it was possibly something to do with the railway, or possibly something to do with roofing tiles. But we don't know anything about the original quarry. I've had my lunch. I've spent a lot longer here than I would normally do on a walk, just enjoying the views and the sunshine. I have found a spot more or less out of the wind. I've not seen anyone else here, and there's little evidence that people come here very often. Clearly there was that old gas stove, so occasionally people do come here, but I don't think very often. Anyway, time to move on. The next point of interest on this walk, and it's again, it's somewhere I've not been to before, is kind of directly further up from here. A nice view down into the old quarry. Look at these views back down. I'm now on Nethermoor and on my way to the next point of interest on the walk, which is uphill but shouldn't be too far. This is quite a tough, pathless uphill slog. Not much further, just should be just over the next rise. Right, I've made it. So many people know about the Druid stone on Edale Moor Plateau over there. Now that's just a rock feature which in the 19th century, because it looked like it may have been, the top may have been carved or deliberately shaped in some way for some purpose. In the 19th century, people speculated that it may have been used for sacrifice, and it got the name the Druid stone for that reason, and that reason only. So there's absolutely no evidence to support that, other than the rock itself and the shape of the rock. In the 19th century, when archaeology and ancient history, the understanding of ancient history was still in its early days, many people thought that anything old was to do with the Druids. You know, the Druids were believed to have made Stonehenge, and anything basically, any barrow or a stone circle was attributed to the Druids. We now know better. We now know that the Druids came much later than that. Now, of course, the Druids may have used ancient Neolithic or Bronze Age stones or stone circles or sacred places. They may well have used them for their own purpose. We don't know. But what we can be pretty sure of is if the Druids did use those places, those locations, the Druids had no more idea about the original purpose of those places than we do today. In fact, probably a lot less of an idea about the original purpose than we do today. But the point I want to make is the word Druid quite often gets attributed to things which are ancient. They're either Bronze Age or Neolithic. And where I am right now is kind of the genuine article. Where I am right now is known as the Druids' altar, but it is in fact an old burial cairn. This has never been excavated. It's never been surveyed. It was much bigger than this, but over the years the rocks have been removed to build things like stone walls, maybe for quarrying. The rocks have been taken away, so what we've got now today is much smaller than what originally would have been here. But this is the location of an ancient burial, and not knowing any better, in the 19th century it was named the Druids' altar. Just over there you can see the very top section of Jaggers Clough. I don't know if you can make it out, but over there you can see quite a few people going up Crookstone. I'm not quite sure how it works, but I think it might be because it's never been officially archaeologically surveyed, but this burial cairn unfortunately doesn't have protected status. Right, well now I'm up here, there's a couple of things I just want to have a look at, a couple of things on the map I just want to have a look at. I probably won't need to go all the way up to them unless they look really interesting. Should be sufficient to just get a view from a distance. Well, I'm in the area I wanted to come to. The OS map shows a couple of small pools here, ponds or pools. There's nothing like that here now. It's a bit boggy under the foot, but that's about it. Oh, that's the closest we've got, look. But there was something else marked on the map over here in front of me, and I can't see anything, so I'm going to have to go over and actually have a look and see. Let's see exactly what the map is referring to. This is an interesting feature. Very wet and boggy, but follows a straight line. It is marked on the map as like a boundary. So I don't know if there was a wall there at some point, but what I'm looking for is literally right here. So I've just taken a screenshot to show you what appears on the map. It's like a square, like a shooting cabin ruin perhaps. That's what I was hoping for. and I'll have to check the old maps for this spot because I don't think I did. But there's nothing here now. So I'm literally stood right in the middle of where the map indicates it to have been. There's nothing here. Not that you can tell much with all this thick heather though, but I haven't seen any kind of stones or anything like that. If anything, the ground's quite boggy. Oh well, worth coming to have a look. So I'm gonna follow the way I came up, back down, past the quarry, and get back down to the bottom of Jaggers Clough. Back above the quarry now. Back of the quarry. You can clearly see the old track going down. Back at this track I've not walked along. Looks like there's an old sheepfold here. Let's have a quick look at that. Very cool. That's a sheepfold with a view. Really nice, intact sheepfold. And this is right at the edge of the access land. So that sheepfold is actually on private land. It's all fenced off and walled off, so can't get to it without trespassing. So I just look at it instead. This track does seem to be quite well used. Quite a few people coming along. Anyway, coming back down to Jaggers Clough, and I think I'm going to take a different route to get back to Hope. In a few minutes we'll be coming up to the Peak District's equivalent of the Overlook Hotel. So I'm back at Hope. I came this way. That's the way I went this morning. So the loop is now complete. My car's just along here. That was an enjoyable walk. As I say, I've wanted to visit Jaggers Clough Quarry ever since I first laid eyes on it. And I had the plan to actually go ahead and do that, and I did all the research for doing that walk when I did the Win Hill, Ruins on Win Hill video a few months back. And yeah, I've been waiting for a day like today to do it in, and the weather's been gorgeous. The Druids altar was a really amazing spot. It's a pity to see the cairn in such poor condition though, missing so much of it, but I'm happy to have gone there. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the walk. I'll see you next time.